Good morning, little hoes. My name is Kristen, and welcome back to my channel. I was tagged by my lovely friend Leona over at Lioness Tropicals, formerly Genus Abundant, to do this plant tuber tag, Getting to Know You. So I thought I would do it really quick before I went to work. Hopefully I don't run my mouth too much. And am I late? Don't know what this is, but I'm doing it. Also, excuse the glare. I'm reading off the questions from my laptop, and it's still not that light out, so there will be glare. So, the first portion is to introduce yourself. I just did. I'm Kristen. You're here. I'm here. We're both here. To know about me, I don't know. I live in Eastern Washington State. I am 31. I don't know if that's relevant. I don't know what my blood type is. I'm just going to dive into the questions now. I don't know where to go with that other portion of it. What hobbies do you have aside from plants? I am a very square, limited person, and plants are really all I have in life. It's not true. What else I enjoy doing? I really love to cook. I love to just create random dishes that are knocking around in my noggin, and most of the time they turn out pretty good. Boyfriend will attest to this, because if he doesn't, he'll never eat food again. Created by me, I should say. Do you have any dependents, be it pets or children? I don't like children. I will never own a child. Since before I was old enough to have children, I have never wanted children. I do, however, have pets. Casey and I have a hedgehog, some leopard geckos, and you all know my Freddy girl, who is a tortoiseshell cat and the love of my life, aside from, Casey. But she doesn't talk back. Why plants? What's your plant origin story? It sounds like an X-Men video right there, the origin story. So my first remembrance of plants and gardening is sitting in my parents' backyard as a kid, and there being a row of marigolds and just looking at them and thinking how much I liked them and enjoyed them and the smell of them, and just I would play with the flower heads and all that. My parents had a garden, but when I was little, it was primarily just vegetables, herbs, things like that, seed packet flowers. My parents' neighbor got into more ornamental outdoor plants. And when I was in my early teens, probably like 13, maybe even 12, I started getting into them as well, just because she would give us starts. And me being the presumptuous child that I am, I just wanted to know more, and not to say it was like a competition, but I wanted to know all the things and know all the facts about these plants. So I got a garden book on, I think, hardy perennials for my region, and just pretty much devoured the book. Could reference any page at any time, and I thought that it really had all the plants known to man. Well, was I wrong on that? So when I started going online, joined some garden forums, things like that, it really just opened my mind to how many plants there really were. I will say I probably started my knowledge primarily in hardy perennials, and then shrubs and trees to some extent, but primarily perennials and maybe some annuals. In my early 20s, I used that knowledge to land myself a job at a local nursery. And that was kind of a mixed bag in itself. I loved this job so much, and even looking back at it now, I learned so much from having that job. I worked there in just the retail setting, doing a little bit of cashiering, selling plants, tending plants, planting plants for clients. Eventually, I did get promoted to assistant manager, and that's sort of when it all started to fall apart a little bit, just because the manager was let go and I was kind of left to, take care of the nursery, train the variety of new managers that were hired afterwards, as well as purchase for the landscape division of the company, which was, pretty lucrative. But eventually I just couldn't deal with it anymore. The powers that be just made it miserable and let other people make it miserable for me, and I decided to leave. Afterwards, I did some professional gardening for a little local business, and I did that for probably a season and a half. It was very seasonal work, so I ended up currently where I am now, in another sort of local nursery slash this, that, and the other store. That is my origin story of, how I came to like plants and my more professional plant career. Why did you start a YouTube channel about plants? Talk about your first video. I think my first video was an unboxing, and I think it was my squamiferum. But yeah, I think that's correct. I didn't look it up. I'm just going off assumptions entirely. Why I started it, I think in the back of my mind, I thought, oh, I could get paid to talk about plants on YouTube. That would be fun. But I quickly realized that it's a lot harder than it looks. And as far as popularity contests, I'm not top of the food chain, so I'm probably not going to get the amount of views, subscribers, anytime soon that would get me any sort of monetization. I still hold out hope that maybe one day that's a thing, but this has morphed into something else entirely. I do it for myself, and I genuinely enjoy doing it. It keeps me sane, and I don't feel that particularly creative at my job, and really do miss that. I miss having a challenge, and I think this provides me some level of challenge. And I also really do enjoy the community for all its faults, especially lately. I like interacting with my other plant tubers. I like having those friendships that I've made. What is your philosophy on buying plants? Oh boy, I don't know that I have time for this question. As far as recent plant prices, they have skyrocketed. Y'all know this. As somebody that loves plants, loves to collect plants, am really getting into some of the more popular items out there, it does frustrate me to see how expensive they are. However, on the flip side of that, I get that, supply and demand, and it will drive up the cost of plants. All these new plant parents out there, noobs to the ornamental plant world, want to get their hands on them, and they don't realize just how much they are driving up the cost of plants by being willing to purchase things for outrageous prices. And, it's not entirely their fault. They don't know better because, again, they're noobs. Sellers do take advantage of this, unfortunately. At the same time, I get it. You have to mark up plants to make a profit, to make your business successful. and a plant is worth what someone will pay for it. I especially commiserate with people that might want to import plants, rehab them, and turn around and sell them. And this doesn't happen in a day. It can take quite a long time to get plants to recuperate before they're to selling stage again. Personally enjoy, and I was talking to Suzette the other day about this, I enjoy hunting for a good bargain. I didn't grow up rich. You bargain shopped as much as you could to get a good deal, and that's just ingrained in me. I shop around for my plants, and I wish a lot of other people did that too, instead of just, I want this, I will buy this, however much it is. You can find a good deal eventually. It might not be when you want it, but you will eventually find a decent price for something. My philosophy is, just because I want it doesn't mean I need it. And there's a sense of entitlement, I feel. And yes, we all deserve to treat ourselves, but just because you want something doesn't mean you need it. And I think it's good to prioritize your life and your needs versus your wants. And as much as plants keep me sane and I love them, they are not a need. They are kind of a luxury, and I know the difference between paying my bills, paying my rent, or buying the latest trendy plant. I'm obviously going to do the right thing and pay my bills. What is your favorite part about keeping plants? Well, I do really get a rush, obviously, from getting new plants. I love doing research on plants, and admittedly I used to do this a lot more when I was younger, when I had a little bit more free time to devote to reading about plants. Tending plants isn't always my favorite just because it's a chore, and sometimes at the end of the day, coming home from taking care of plants at work, I don't always like to do it. I also rather do enjoy watering day. It's kind of fun and it doesn't take too long. I enjoy just individually looking at a plant and seeing its progress, what it might need along the way. So watering gives me that opportunity since I have so many and I have to make the rounds. What is your favorite genus or genera currently? I am on the trend train, I think, and I do love me some philodendron. They are so easy as houseplants. There are obviously some species that are humidity needy that take a little extra work, but then there are those that are easy breezy, beautiful cover girl and really don't take that much effort. And there's so many to collect out there that I could literally be collecting for years and not even scrape the surface. I also am really into syngonium at the moment. I do want to collect some other unusual species. I'm not super into, I've said it before, like the grocery store syngoniums, like the whites or pinks. They don't do much for me, but I do like some of the species. And next on my wish list might be a chiapense. I've gone back and forth on if I really want this plant or not, but if I find a really good deal at a time I am willing to buy, I might pick one up. I also love Ceropegias. I want to find all the species and collect all of them, and not just like the string of hearts, the rosary vines, but some of the more unique species out there. How good is your space house for plants? Well, I don't own my own house, and so there's only a few rooms that, I can really put my plants in, so limited would be my answer. As far as lighting is concerned, my sunroom is awesome. It's very bright. It's great for all my succulents, cacti. My living room is going to be the darkest place in the house that I am growing plants. I've put in some grow lights. I think that was my main problem last year, is that it's so dark. there wasn't enough light for the plants in there. So I think I might have dialed in on growing plants more successfully in the living room. The bathroom is the holy grail of plant growing situations. It's steamy, it's bright but indirect. It's choice. How do your housemates respond to all your plants? Casey, boyfriend, is very supportive. He knows that this is my passion. His brother, the owner of the house, and our roommate is fairly indifferent to plants, just as long as they don't get in the way of daily life. And the cats, well, Freddie's really good. She doesn't really knock plants over or chew on them. Mama likes to chew on things. Other than that, it ain't nobody care up in here. What are you looking forward to the most as a plant parent? And that's the last question. I think my dream is to have a house of my own so that I can just have a devoted plant room to growing and maybe propagating plants and, just designing more with plants. Also to have a greenhouse, like a legit greenhouse, not just some little flimsy plastic thing that is disposable or, comes in a kit. I really want a real greenhouse. Something that I can grow my more tropical plants in and maybe even use to start a little business. And, I've gone back and forth on whether I want to start a business, be it just dip my toes in selling a few plants here and there online or having an actual brick and mortar store. I don't really know yet. I go back and forth. It's kind of hard being in retail and being so exhausted from it mentally and physically and thinking about doing more retail stuff. So I don't know as far as that goes. But that is the end of the questions. I do want to tag a few people, but I can't remember who I had decided on might enjoy this. So I will say goodbye now, guys, and I will flash the people. Oh no, that sounded wrong. I will write the names of the people I am tagging on the screen now. So hope you guys are staying safe, healthy, and sane. I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.